My daughter thought she had beaten me. At 2:07 p.m. on a Sunday in Asheville, North Carolina, Rebecca Sullivan slid papers across my kitchen table and looked at me the way people do when they think they've already won. I didn't argue, didn't raise my voice, just took a sip of coffee. Because 7 days earlier, I'd already met with my lawyer. People think age makes you slower. Sometimes it just makes you quieter. And what happened next nearly cost me my family. Before we get into it, tell me where you're watching from and what your local time is right now. I always enjoy seeing where these stories reach. And if you like real stories about family betrayal and quiet strength, consider subscribing and joining us here. To understand how this started, we need to go back 8 days. 8 days earlier, my life was boring. And I mean that as a compliment. At 67 years old, boring had become expensive enough to earn my respect. I lived alone in Asheville, North Carolina, in the same 2-story house Evelyn and I bought back in 1994 for $142,000. Maple cabinets in the kitchen. Hardwood floors I'd refinished twice myself. A small crack near the corner of the garage floor that somehow survived 3 decades of repairs and optimism. My wife used to joke that if the house ever collapsed, that crack would still be standing. Evelyn Ford had been gone 5 years. Pancreatic cancer. 9 months from diagnosis to funeral. Funny thing about grief. People think it arrives like an explosion. For me, it arrived quietly. It lived inside little moments. Seeing 2 coffee mugs and only using one. Reaching for my phone to text her about something stupid. Walking past her chair in the living room and still mentally avoiding blocking her television view. You don't stop loving people. You just get better at carrying the weight. My mornings followed routines now. 5:40 a.m., always. Didn't matter if it was Tuesday or Christmas. I'd wake up, put on old gray sweatpants, shuffle downstairs, and start coffee. Black coffee. No sugar, no cream. My doctor hated that. I ignored him professionally. By 6:10, I'd usually be sitting on my back porch, looking toward the trees behind my property. North Carolina mornings have a certain quiet to them. Not silence. Birds, wind, distant traffic. A neighbor somewhere starting an engine that definitely needed replacing 3 years ago. My silver 2008 Toyota Tacoma sat in the driveway. 212,000 miles. Original transmission. Frank Dawson kept threatening to hold a funeral for it. Frank had owned Dawson Automotive over on Patton Avenue before retiring. We'd been friends 35 years, the kind of friendship where neither person remembers how it started, only that one day they were there, and somehow never left. Every Wednesday morning, Frank and I met at a Waffle House near Tunnel Road. Same booth, same waitress. Her name was Denise. Worked there 16 years. Called everybody baby regardless of age. Frank ordered bacon and eggs, every single time. I'd ask why he never tried anything different. He'd say, "Martial consistency is the closest thing ordinary people get to wealth." Frank believed strange things, which was probably why I liked him. My life wasn't exciting. I handled small house repairs, cut my own grass, changed my own oil, paid my bills online, volunteered twice a month helping local veterans with insurance paperwork. Old habits die hard. I spent 34 years investigating insurance fraud, car accidents, property claims, workers' compensation fraud, fake injuries, fake signatures, fake receipts, real greed. You learn things in that line of work. People lie. Paper trails don't. My daughter Rebecca used to laugh about that. "Dad," she'd say, "you think everybody's running a scam." Not everybody. Just enough people to keep the lights on. Rebecca Sullivan. 39. My only child. Marketing executive for a real estate company down in Charlotte. Smart, ambitious, beautiful. Looked exactly like Evelyn around the eyes. Same sharp focus, same determination, same habit of crossing her arms when she thought she was right. Difference was Evelyn listened. Rebecca talked, fast, efficient, always moving, always planning, always optimizing something. She drove a white BMW X5 she'd probably tell you wasn't expensive because she'd gotten a great deal. People who mention great deals usually spent more than they planned. She and Tyler lived outside Charlotte. Big subdivision? Big mortgage? Big life? Tyler Sullivan, 41. Regional logistics manager. Good man, quiet, polite. The kind of husband who said things like, "Whatever you think, Beck." Not weak, just tired. There's a difference. Rebecca called every Sunday, most weeks. Some conversations lasted 20 minutes, some lasted 4. How's your blood pressure? You taking your medication? Need help with groceries? Normal things. Daughter things. Until they weren't. It changed slowly. The dangerous things usually do. One Sunday she asked, "So what's the plan for the house eventually?" I laughed. "What plan?" "You know, long term." "I'm planning to keep living in it." "No, Dad. I mean, eventually." "Eventually," I said, "I'll probably die." "Marshall Ford," she said sharply. "You asked." She sighed. "You know what I mean." I did. I just didn't want to answer. Because once people start discussing your future like you're not fully inside it anymore, something shifts. Not immediately. Just enough. Weeks later, another question. You still driving at night? Then, you keeping up with maintenance? Then, you ever think about downsizing? Not pushy. Not yet. Just enough repetition to plant something. You know that feeling. When a conversation keeps circling the same drain, stay with me here. Because at first, I told myself I was imagining it. Children worry, that's normal. Children grow older too. They start seeing mortality. Parents become reminders. Maybe Rebecca was scared. Maybe I was being sensitive. Maybe. Then, one Wednesday morning at Waffle House, Frank ruined my denial. He stabbed his bacon, pointed at me, said, "Your kid asking weird money questions lately." I looked up. "What?" "Mine did it 2 years ago." I laughed. "No." Frank stared. "Marshall." I sighed. "Maybe." "Told you." "Don't start." "You mentioned the house." Frank, retirement accounts. Frank, long-term care. I didn't answer. Frank leaned back. "You know what I've learned?" "What?" "Kids don't ask about your blood pressure unless money's nearby." "That's ridiculous." "No," he said calmly. "It's uncomfortable." Denise dropped coffee near us. "Y'all arguing again?" "No," Frank said. "We're diagnosing denial." Denise nodded seriously. "That's expensive." I laughed. Frank didn't. That bothered me, because Frank joked about everything. Bad knees, divorce, taxes, the economy. If he stopped joking, it usually meant something. Driving home that morning down Tunnel Road, I found myself replaying conversations, questions, patterns, timing, insurance investigation habits. 34 years teaches your brain strange reflexes. You stop hearing words, you hear motives. I hated that feeling, hated it. Because Rebecca wasn't some stranger filing a questionable property claim. She wasn't a dishonest contractor. She wasn't a person manipulating paperwork. She was my daughter. The little girl who once cried 45 minutes because she'd stepped on a caterpillar by accident. The 12-year-old who made Evelyn breakfast and nearly burned down the kitchen. The 16-year-old who made me sit through 4 straight hours of college campus tours because she couldn't decide. My daughter, my kid. My family. And maybe that's why I ignored what my instincts were trying to tell me, because sometimes the hardest lies to see are the ones wearing familiar faces. The first real warning showed up disguised as concern. The first real warning showed up on a Tuesday, 3:14 p.m. I remember because I was standing on a ladder cleaning leaves out of my gutters when my phone buzzed inside my flannel shirt pocket hard enough to nearly send a 67-year-old man into early retirement from gravity. I climbed down, slowly. Age teaches patience. Falling teaches it faster. "Rebecca," I answered. "Hey, kid." "Hi, Dad." Something felt different immediately. You spend enough years around people you learn voices have weather patterns. Sunny, stormy, careful. This one felt careful. You busy? She asked. Cleaning gutters. You should hire somebody. I have ladders. You're 67. I have ladders and 67. She exhaled, not annoyed, preparing. Pay attention to this next part. People rarely start hard conversations where they mean to. They circle them first. How've you been feeling? Fine. You sound tired. I'm holding leaves. Dad. I'm fine. Pause. Then, have you thought any more about downsizing? There it was again. Not house, not home. Downsizing, corporate language, efficient language, language that makes hard things sound organized. No, I said. Why not? Because I live here. You don't need all that space. I use all that space. What for? I looked around. Garage, porch, kitchen. Evelyn painted yellow back in 2002 because apparently normal white cabinets weren't emotionally healthy. Memory. That's what space is for. You still there? Rebecca asked. Yep. Dad, I'm serious. So am I. You don't think about long-term planning. I have a will. I'm talking bigger than that. I climbed down the last ladder step. You worried about me. Of course I am. Or worried about managing me. Silence. Tiny, but real. You know that silence. The one where someone suddenly starts choosing words instead of speaking naturally. That's not fair, she said quietly. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was. I've just seen things, Rebecca said. What things? People getting older. We all do that. Dad? No, seriously, everybody gets older. I'm trying to help. There it was. Again, help. The strange thing about control is that it rarely introduces itself honestly. It wears concern, compassion, efficiency. I appreciate that, I said. But I'm good. You still driving at night? Rebecca. What? Yes. You remembering medications? Yes. Blood pressure okay? Yes. You keeping up with maintenance? Rebecca. What? You forgot to ask if I'm brushing my teeth. Dad. I smiled. She didn't. I could hear it. I'm coming up Saturday, she said. Okay. We should talk. About stuff. Nobody over 30 says stuff, unless they don't want details examined. Insurance work taught me that. Fraud investigations taught me that. Life taught me that. Saturday arrived cold. Gray clouds, 46 degrees. North Carolina winter trying its best. My silver Tacoma needed washing. The front porch needed repainting. The world kept functioning normally, which somehow made everything feel stranger. Rebecca arrived around 10:20 a.m., white BMW, clean enough to advertise financial stability. Tyler came too. That surprised me. Tyler climbed out carrying coffee. Morning, Marshall? Morning. Rebecca hugged me. Quick, efficient, professional. She used to hug Evelyn differently, longer, warmer. Life changes people. Pressure changes them faster. We sat in the kitchen. I noticed Tyler staying unusually quiet. Rebecca talked, fast. Charlotte traffic, work stress, housing market, mortgage rates, normal. Then, Dad. There it was. Tone shift, prepared conversation. I found this really nice senior community outside Hendersonville. I looked up. Frank had been right. Not entirely, but enough. I don't need a senior community. You haven't even seen it. I don't need to. It's beautiful. I'm sure it is. They've got walking trails. I have grass. They have a fitness center. I own shoes. Dad? I'm kidding. No, I wasn't. Not really. Tyler stared into his coffee. Rebecca leaned forward. I just think maybe it's time to think, practically. Practical. Another dangerous word. Practical sometimes means smart. Sometimes it means profitable. You worried about stairs? I asked. No. My health? No. Money? No. What then? She hesitated. Tiny, but enough. I just think eventually this house becomes too much. Too much for who? You. Or you. Silence. Again. Stay with me here. Because that silence mattered. Tyler finally spoke. We're not trying to pressure you. Good man. Wrong room, wrong day. I know, I said calmly. And Rebecca crossed her arms. Same habit Evelyn had. Different energy. You think I'm being selfish? No. You do. I think you're worried. I am worried. Okay? You're alone. I'm not helpless. I didn't say helpless. You implied it. No. Little bit. No. Little bit. We sat there. Kitchen clock ticking, coffee cooling, years of history sitting quietly between us. Then Rebecca said something small, tiny, ordinary, the kind of sentence most people miss. I just don't want decisions getting harder later. Harder later. Interesting. Not, I don't want you struggling. Not, I worry about you. Decisions, plural, practical, organized, managed. Insurance investigation reflex, pattern recognition, language shifts, motives hiding behind efficiency. I changed subjects, asked Tyler about work, Atlanta routes, warehouse staffing, fuel costs, normal things. Rebecca seemed relieved. Too relieved. That bothered me. After lunch turkey sandwiches, potato chips, sweet tea. Tyler helped carry dishes. Rebecca wandered the house, slowly, looking, studying. Living room, guest room, hallway, garage, I noticed. Didn't mention it. People reveal themselves when they think nobody notices. Insurance fraud taught me that. Greed taught me that. Human nature confirmed it. Before leaving, Rebecca hugged me, longer this time. Love you, Dad? Love you too. Think about what I said. I will. I wasn't lying. I would think about it, constantly. After they left, I stood by the kitchen window, watching white BMW taillights disappear. Quiet house. Quiet afternoon. Quiet feeling I couldn't explain. Then my phone buzzed. Frank. How bad? He asked. You psychic? No, old. She mentioned senior living. Told you? Frank? You okay? Yeah. No, you're not. No, I admitted quietly. No, I'm not. Silence. Friend silence. The kind that doesn't rush. Finally, Frank said Marshall. Yeah. Real concern listens. I stared out the window. Control talks. I didn't answer, because for the first time, I wasn't entirely sure which one my daughter was doing. Then 3 days later, Rebecca showed up carrying paperwork. Rebecca showed up Thursday afternoon at 1:32 p.m. I remember the exact time because old investigation habits don't retire. They just get quieter. The sky over Asheville looked heavy. Gray clouds hanging low over the Blue Ridge Mountains, like they hadn't decided whether to rain or simply threaten everybody emotionally. I was in the garage changing the air filter on my Tacoma when I heard tires roll into the driveway. White BMW. Rebecca. Alone. That surprised me. Tyler usually came when conversations mattered. She stepped out wearing a cream-colored blazer, dark jeans, and those expensive white sneakers people somehow keep spotless. Rebecca moved fast, always had, even as a kid. At 12, she'd sprint through grocery stores like she had shareholders expecting quarterly results. Hey, Dad, she called. Hey, kid. She smiled. Normal smile. Not nervous, not forced. Confident. That bothered me, because confidence usually means preparation, and preparation means planning. You busy? She asked. Air filter. You still do your own maintenance? Costs $20. Dad, What? You can afford a mechanic. I can also afford common sense. She rolled her eyes. Same expression Evelyn used to make. Difference was Evelyn usually smiled afterward. Rebecca didn't. She held a leather folder under one arm. Black, professional, important looking. Pay attention to this next part. People trying to sell you something often make it look official before they make it sound reasonable. Coffee? I asked. Sure. Inside, I started a fresh pot. She stood in the kitchen looking around. Not casually. Studying. Countertops. Hallway. Dining room. You ever notice how people look at places differently when they think ownership might eventually change? I noticed. Didn't mention it. Work okay? I asked. Busy. Tyler. Busy. Mortgage still expensive? A tiny pause. Everybody's mortgage is expensive. Interesting. Not, we're fine. Not, doing great. Just everybody's mortgage is expensive. Insurance work teaches strange listening habits. People answer questions directly when they're comfortable. Sideways when they're not. Coffee finished brewing. I poured 2 mugs, black for me, cream and 1 sugar for her. Some habits survive adulthood. We sat at the kitchen table. Same table Evelyn picked out 23 years ago. Solid oak, heavy enough to survive nuclear events or family conversations. Rebecca wrapped both hands around her mug. Didn't drink. Another thing I noticed. Then she opened the folder. There it was. Paperwork. You know that feeling when your instincts stand up before your brain catches up that? Dad, she said carefully, I've been thinking. Dangerous opening. I know things have been harder since Mom passed. 5 years. 5 years, and people still spoke about grief like weather. Temporary, manageable. I've been okay. I know. No, I said quietly. You know I've survived. She nodded. I know. I miss her. I know. But surviving isn't the problem. Rebecca shifted. Right. And I just think we should plan ahead. There it was again. Plan, prepare, manage, efficient words, corporate words, words that make uncomfortable things sound responsible. I found some paperwork that might make things easier later. She slid papers toward me. Neatly organized. Tabs, sticky notes, highlighted sections. Rebecca had always weaponized organization. I picked up the stack. 47 pages. First page. Financial power of attorney. Second, healthcare power of attorney. Third, asset management authorization. Fourth, emergency decision authority. I kept reading. Quietly. Rebecca watched. Confident. Too confident. This just protects you, she said. Mm-hmm. If something happens? Mm-hmm. It makes things easier. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do anything right now. I looked up. Rebecca. Yeah. What exactly are you asking me to sign? Nothing major. Interesting. Never trust people who describe legal authority as nothing major. I know what power of attorney means. I know. Do you? Of course I do. Walk me through it. She blinked. Tiny hesitation. Not enough for most people. Enough for me. It just lets me help. Help how? Bank stuff. What bank stuff? Bills. I pay bills. Medical decisions. I'm healthy. Future planning? Future planning for who? Dad. No, seriously. You know what I mean. I did. Didn't mean I liked it. I kept reading. Page 12, witness section. Page 16, state formatting. Page 21, signature authorization language. Then something small. Tiny. Ordinary. Wrong. My middle name. Marshall Allen Ford. Paper said Marshall Allen Ford. 1 letter. Most people wouldn't notice. Insurance investigators notice. I kept reading. Page 29. Formatting shifted. Margins changed. Font changed. Interesting. Page 33. Witness language. North Carolina authorization wording. Close. Not exact. Close matters. Exact matters more. I leaned back. Rebecca smiled. You can review it? I will. No pressure. Pressure never announces itself honestly. Lawyer put these together? I asked casually. Basically. Basically. Another dangerous word. What lawyer? Friend recommendation. Name. Does it matter? Yes, very much. No, I said calmly. Just curious. She relaxed. Too quickly. You don't trust me, she said quietly. There it was. Emotional pivot. Very common. Move conversation away from facts, toward feelings. I'd investigated fraudulent claims worth millions. Human behavior patterns repeat. Doesn't matter whether someone's stealing insurance money or trying to avoid uncomfortable questions. People are people. I trust you, I said. Then why are you looking at paperwork like it's evidence? Because evidence tells the truth. But I didn't say that. Instead, because paperwork matters. You think I'd trick you? No. Lie, small lie, necessary lie. She leaned forward. Dad. Yeah? You know I'd never do anything to hurt you. I looked at her. Really looked. My daughter, my kid, the little girl who used to sit beside Evelyn making Christmas cookies that somehow always looked emotionally damaged. The teenager who cried when her first dog died. The young woman who held my hand at Evelyn's funeral because neither one of us trusted our knees. I wanted to believe her. God help me, I wanted to. Leave it with me, I said. What? I'll read it. Dad. I said I'll read it. It's pretty standard. Then reading it won't hurt. She sat back. Not angry, not yet. Frustrated. Impatient. Interesting. Greed hates delays. Not saying Rebecca was greedy. Not yet. But impatience leaves fingerprints. Always has. Always will. She stood, grabbed her purse. Don't overthink it. Insurance investigations taught me something valuable. People who don't want scrutiny often ask for speed, fast decisions, quick signatures, urgency, artificial timelines. Take your time sounds different than don't overthink it. Okay, I said. At the front door, she paused. You know I'm trying to help. I know. You believe that? Of course. Another lie. Small, necessary. She hugged me. Quick, professional. Then she left. White BMW backing out, gone. Quiet house, quiet kitchen, 47 pages. I sat back down. Opened page 1 again. Pulled reading glasses from my shirt pocket. Kitchen clock, ticking. 2:16 p.m. Rain starting outside. And something deep inside me, something built across 34 years investigating fraud, finally stood up. Because people lie. Paperwork remembers. And something in those papers remembered something Rebecca hoped I wouldn't notice. I didn't sleep much Thursday night. Not because I was scared. Scared feels loud. This felt different. Quiet. Like hearing a strange sound in your house at 2 a.m. and telling yourself it's probably nothing. Probably. Funny word. Insurance fraud investigations taught me that probably costs people money. Sometimes dignity, too. Rain hit the windows around 11:30 p.m. Slow, steady, North Carolina rain. I sat at my kitchen table wearing reading glasses Evelyn used to call my old man spectacles. 47 pages. Yellow legal pad. Black pen. Coffee that had gone cold 40 minutes earlier. My grandfather taught me something when I was 12. Marshall, he'd said. If something feels wrong, slow down. Fast decisions help dishonest people. Slow decisions protect honest ones. Page 12, witness section. I checked names again, nothing obvious. Page 16, formatting inconsistencies. Page 21, legal wording. Close, not exact. People think fraud looks dramatic. It doesn't. Fraud lives inside tiny details, misspelled words, wrong spacing, dates that don't fit. People rush lies. Truth doesn't hurry. By 12:18 a.m., I'd found 4 things I didn't like. By 12:42 a.m., I found the 5th. The one that made me put my pen down. Metadata. Or more accurately, what metadata implied. Stay with me here. 34 years investigating claims teaches strange habits. I used to catch fraudulent repair estimates because somebody accidentally left original document properties attached. Creation dates, edit history, printer identifiers. You learn technology tells on people. Paperwork itself looked printed normally, professional, clean. But page formatting changed halfway through. That bothered me. Documents prepared by actual attorneys tend to stay consistent. Professionals charge enough money to maintain fonts. I flipped back. Page 29. Then page 30. Margins shifted. Header spacing changed, tiny but real. I grabbed my laptop. Old Dell. Slow enough to qualify for historic preservation. Scanner app, PDF review, nothing dramatic. No movie music, no computer genius moment. Real investigation work is boring. Mostly reading. Mostly patience. Mostly refusing to assume. I noticed embedded file naming patterns. Different source generations. Interesting. Very interesting. Not proof, not yet, but enough. I leaned back. Kitchen clock read 12:57 a.m. Rain still falling. House quiet. And for the first time, I let myself ask the question I'd been avoiding. What if Rebecca isn't worried about me? What if Rebecca is planning around me? I hated that thought. Hated it. Because once suspicion enters family, everything starts feeling contaminated. Memories, conversations, intentions. You start reviewing old moments differently. Dangerous thing. Necessary thing. Dangerous anyway. Friday morning, 5:40 a.m. Coffee, back porch, cold air, no peace. Phone buzzed. Frank? Morning, he said. You psychic? No, retired people just call early. Need something. Breakfast. It's 8 in the morning. Exactly. Tunnel Road Waffle House. Booth near the window. Denise working. Frank already eating, naturally. You look terrible, Frank said. Good morning to you too. Didn't sleep. No. What happened? I told him. Not everything. Enough. Paperwork, power of attorney, senior living discussions, house conversations, long pauses, questions. Frank listened. Didn't joke. That bothered me more. Finally, what do your instincts say? He asked. I don't know. That's not true. I don't want them involved. Too bad. I'm serious. So am I. Denise walked over. Coffee pot. Professional concern developed over 16 years watching people slowly age inside booth 7. You boys okay? She asked. Frank answered immediately. No. We're fine, I said. Denise ignored me. Smart woman. Frank leaned forward. You know what your problem is? No. You think good people can't make bad choices. I don't think that. You do. No. You absolutely do. I stared out the window, cars moving through tunnel road traffic, rainwater on asphalt, life continuing normally. Frank lowered his voice. Marshall? What? Pressure changes people. I know. No, he said quietly. You know professionally. That landed harder, because he was right. Insurance claims, fraud investigations, scams. I'd watched financial pressure change people, good people, normal people, desperate people. One bad year. Medical debt, mortgage pressure, job problems. Suddenly decent people made terrible decisions. Not monsters. People. Frank stabbed bacon. How's Rebecca doing financially? Fine. You know that. Probably. Probably. There was that word again. Mortgage rates went up, Frank said. Charlotte expensive. Everybody's struggling. Not everybody starts paperwork. No. Not everybody. Phone buzzed. Rebecca. Interesting, I answered. Hey, kid. Hey, Dad. Voice tight. Careful. You look at paperwork. Some. Thoughts. Still reading. Need help understanding anything. Dangerous sentence. Helpful, efficient, controlled. No. Pause. I can explain. I understand paperwork. Dad. Rebecca. Long silence. Then, don't make this weird. Weird. Interesting word. Weird how... Suspicious. There it was. Small, fast, accidental. Suspicious. You think I'm suspicious? I asked calmly. No. You said suspicious. I mean, Rebecca. Silence. Tiny. Important. I just don't want this becoming something it isn't. Insurance work taught me another truth. People worried about facts discuss facts. People worried about perception discuss feelings. I'm reading, I said. That's all. Dad? What? You trust me, right? I closed my eyes. There it was. Again. Trust. Not legality. Not paperwork. Trust. Emotional leverage. Old strategy. Common strategy. Powerful strategy. Of course, I said. Lie. Necessary lie. Small lie. Dangerous lie. Call ended. Frank watched me. Well, he asked. I hate this. Good. What? Hate means you still care. That shut me up, because he wasn't wrong. Friday afternoon, 1:10 p.m., I drove downtown Asheville. Not to a lawyer, not yet. Bank, local branch. Melissa Carter, assistant branch manager. 50-ish. Sharp. Professional. Known her years. Not close. Trusted. Marshall Ford, she said, smiling. What brings you in? Question. Okay? Purely hypothetical. Those are never hypothetical. Smart woman. I sign financial power of attorney paperwork. Mm-hmm. What changes? Depends. Account visibility. Possibly. Access. Potentially. Authority. Could. Timing. Depends. Professional answers. Good answers. Then, everything okay? Melissa asked. Probably. There it was. Again, probably. She studied me. Marshall. What? You're asking careful questions. Former investigator. No. She leaned slightly forward. Former investigators ask specific questions. Quiet. Professional. Sharp. Interesting. Nothing signed, I said. Good. Just learning? Good. Then she said something small. Very small. Very important. Learning first saves problems later. Driving home 3:42 p.m., I passed Hendersonville Road. Traffic slow, radio off. Thinking. Patterns, pressure, paperwork, mortgage pressure, Charlotte housing market. Rebecca's questions. Tyler's silence. House conversations, senior living, power of attorney. Too many puzzle pieces. Not enough picture. Yet. When I got home, there was an email. Subject line, Dad forgot one thing. From Rebecca, attached. PDF. 1 page, short, simple. And that single page changed everything. Fan 6. The email came in at 4:18 p.m. Subject line, Dad forgot one thing. Short, ordinary, dangerous. I sat down in Evelyn's chair without thinking. Funny how grief works. 5 years later and your body still reaches for old habits before your brain catches up. Rain tapped lightly against the kitchen windows. The house felt quieter than normal. Or maybe I was. I opened the email. One attachment. PDF. Single page. Title, Estimated Property Value Assessment. I stared at it. Then read it again. Then a third time. My house, my address, my property. Estimated market value $684,000. I leaned back slowly. Interesting. Very interesting. You know that feeling when a magician accidentally shows you the trick before finishing the performance? That. Because I hadn't asked for a property valuation, hadn't spoken to a realtor, hadn't discussed selling, not once, yet somehow Rebecca had. Stay with me here. Because this next part matters. People planning responsibly ask questions. People planning outcomes gather numbers. This wasn't concern. Concern asks, how are you doing? Planning asks, what is everything worth? I opened the PDF details. 34 years investigating fraud taught me one thing technology never learned to hide: patterns, file properties, creation dates, names, small things, tiny things, dangerous things. Document generated 3 weeks earlier. 3 weeks. 3 weeks before Rebecca brought paperwork. 3 weeks before senior living conversations. 3 weeks before future planning. Interesting. Very interesting. I checked the company logo. Blue Ridge Heritage Realty. Local. Asheville office. I knew the company, didn't know the agent, but I knew enough. I looked down at Evelyn's old kitchen clock. 4:29 p.m. Then I picked up my phone, called Frank. He answered immediately. "You sound awful," he said. "I haven't spoken." "Didn't need to." "Frank." "Marshall. She got a property assessment." Silence. Longer than normal. "How long ago?" he asked. 3 weeks. Another silence. "Damn," Frank said quietly. "Yeah. You okay?" "No." "No," I admitted. "No, I'm not." Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Suspicion hurts. But confirmation hurts differently. Confirmation removes excuses. You can't hide behind uncertainty anymore. Can't say maybe. Can't say probably. Can't protect yourself with optimism. Reality shows up. And reality doesn't care how much you love someone. "You gonna call her?" Frank asked. "No." "Good. I need facts." "Good. I need context." "Good. I need Marshall." "What?" "You need a lawyer." Quiet. Kitchen clock ticking. Rain falling. Frank breathing softly through old phone speakers. "I don't want a lawyer." "Too bad." "Frank." "Marshall." Friend voice. The serious one. The one that rarely showed up. "You spent 34 years telling strangers to protect themselves." "This isn't strangers." "No," he paused. "That's exactly why." Saturday morning. 6:20 a.m. Coffee. No appetite. No peace. I sat at my kitchen table reviewing paperwork again. Property valuation. Power of attorney forms. Printed pages, question marks, timeline. Investigation habits returning. You spend enough years solving puzzles your brain starts organizing pain like evidence. Timeline. 3 weeks ago. Property valuation. 2 weeks ago. More phone calls. 10 days ago. Senior living conversation. Thursday. Power of attorney. Pattern, direction, momentum. Not concern. Movement. Toward something. At 9:11 a.m., my phone buzzed. Tyler. That surprised me. Tyler never called alone. "Hey, Marshall? Morning. You busy?" "No." Pause. "You okay?" "Interesting. Very interesting." "Why wouldn't I be?" "No reason." Tyler wasn't built for deception. Good people struggle carrying lies, or secrets, or pressure. "You need something?" I asked. "No." Pause. Longer. Then, "Rebecca means well." There it was. People say means well when outcomes start looking questionable. I didn't say she didn't. No. Quiet. Silence. You know that silence. Person standing near truth, afraid to touch it. "Tyler?" "Yeah." "Something going on?" "No." "Too fast. Wrong speed. Insurance investigations taught timing. Truth arrives naturally, lies sprint." "No?" I asked calmly. "No." "Okay." "Marshall." "What?" "We worry." Rebecca worries. Interesting correction. Very interesting. "You should think about help eventually." "Help?" "Yeah?" "What kind?" "Future stuff." "Future stuff." Everybody suddenly loved vague language. "Tyler." "Yeah." "Who got property estimates on my house?" Silence. Total silence. 5 seconds. 7. 10. Bingo. Tyler, I gotta go. Click. I stared at my phone. You know that feeling the exact moment denial finally packs its bags and leaves that? I sat quietly. Long time. Long enough coffee went cold. Long enough memories started arriving. Rebecca, age 7. Holding Evelyn's hand crossing parking lots. Rebecca, age 12. Science fair project exploding baking soda all over my garage. Rebecca, age 16. Crying after failing her driver's test. Dad, she'd said, I feel stupid. You aren't. What if I never get it? You will. What if I don't? Kid. I'd smiled. You come from stubborn people. Funny. Some lessons stay, some evolve. By 11:40 a.m., I had made my decision. Not emotional, not angry, professional, careful, protective. I showered, shaved, pressed clean jeans, blue flannel, brown jacket. Same one Evelyn always said made me look trustworthy. I investigated fraud claims, I'd tell her. Trustworthy helps? You're handsome too, she'd say. Miss that woman every day. Downtown Asheville traffic wasn't terrible. Tourists everywhere, coffee shops full, people living normal lives. Funny thing about private disasters, the world keeps moving, doesn't pause, doesn't ask permission. Patton Avenue, Mercer elder law, Caroline Mercer, 52, sharp, calm, recommended years ago by someone from church. I walked inside. Receptionist smiled. Appointment. Marshall Ford. Miss Mercer will be right with you. 5 minutes later, Caroline walked out. Professional, confident, steady eyes. Mr. Ford? Marshall. Come on back. Office smelled faintly like coffee and paper. Comforting. Organized. Safe? She sat. Opened notebook. What brings you in? I placed paperwork on her desk. Power of attorney, property valuation, timeline, questions. Then I said 6 words I never thought I'd say. I think my daughter planned something. Caroline didn't react, didn't overreact, didn't comfort. Good attorneys don't chase emotion, they chase facts. Tell me everything, she said quietly. So I did. Rebecca. Phone calls, senior living, house conversations, property estimate, paperwork, pressure, questions. Tyler. Patterns. 42 minutes. No interruptions. When I finished, Caroline folded her hands. Silent. Thinking. Then, Marshall. Yeah? Your instincts work for a reason. Quiet, steady, professional. Then she slid the paperwork toward herself, picked up page 1, started reading. 3 minutes later, she found the first problem. 7 minutes later, the second. 10 minutes later, she looked up, and the expression on her face told me something I wasn't ready to hear. This wasn't misunderstanding, and it wasn't over. Caroline Mercer read quietly. No dramatic reactions, no television lawyer behavior, no sharp inhale, no Mr. Ford, this changes everything. Real professionals don't perform, they observe. Page 1, small note, yellow legal pad. Page 7, another note. Page 16, long pause. Page 23. She leaned back, folded her hands, looked directly at me. Marshall? Yeah. Did your daughter tell you where these documents came from? No. Did she say an attorney prepared them? Basically. Caroline nodded slowly. That's not an answer people give when attorneys actually prepare documents. Small, calm, precise, dangerous. I sat quietly. Office clock, soft air conditioning, traffic outside Patton Avenue, normal sounds, abnormal conversation. She slid page 16 toward me. See this language? I adjusted my glasses. Read it. Read it again. Didn't see it. Help me. This section references authority expansion wording that doesn't match standard North Carolina drafting. You lost me. Some of this appears assembled. Assembled? From different sources. Interesting. Very interesting. You think she made it herself? I think someone combined materials. You can tell that. I can tell enough. Insurance investigations taught me confidence matters, but certainty matters more. Good investigators don't declare. They establish. What else? I asked quietly. Caroline turned pages. Witness language inconsistent. Mm-hmm. Formatting inconsistent. Mm-hmm. Authorization scope unusually broad. I looked up. Broad. Too broad. Meaning? Meaning someone wanted extensive authority. Money, assets, medical decisions, property, banking, everything. Stay with me here, because this next part mattered. A lot. Caroline folded her hands. Marshall? Yeah. Do you believe your daughter wants to harm you? Question hit harder than expected, because truth I didn't know, and not knowing hurt worse. I don't know, I said quietly. Caroline nodded. Good attorneys understand uncertainty. Good people do too. Financial pressure changes behavior, she said. I know. No. She looked directly at me. You know professionally. Frank had said almost exactly that. Strange how truth repeats itself. Tell me about your daughter, Caroline said. So I did. Rebecca, straight-A student, scholarship kid, hard worker, determined, competitive, first person in our family to make 6 figures, loved expensive coffee, loved expensive shoes, loved planning, loved control, loved certainty. When did things change? Caroline asked. 5 years ago. Maybe. After Evelyn died. Maybe. After Charlotte. Maybe. After promotions, mortgage, lifestyle, pressure. Life. People rarely change all at once. They drift. Tiny decisions. Tiny compromises. Tiny justifications. Then one day you look up and don't recognize the shoreline. How's their financial situation? Caroline asked. Fine. You know? Probably. There was that word again. Probably. She wrote something down. I'd like you to do something. What? Nothing. I drove downtown for homework. I want no confrontation, no accusation, no discussion, nothing. What if she asks? Smile. What if she pushes? Smile. What if? Marshall. What? Let people reveal themselves. Quiet, simple, powerful. Insurance investigations. Same principle. Fraud collapses under patience. People protecting truth cooperate. People protecting lies push. Second thing, Caroline said. Okay. We update everything. What everything? Will. Mm-hmm. Medical directives. Mm-hmm. Trust structure. Mm-hmm. Emergency authorizations. Mm-hmm. Bank access. Quiet. Long quiet. You know that feeling. The moment reality becomes paperwork, that, because suddenly this wasn't suspicion anymore. This was defense, protection, preparation. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Not because Caroline was wrong, because she wasn't. 2 hours later, I walked back toward my Tacoma carrying a folder. New checklist, new steps, new reality. Downtown Asheville looked normal. Tourists, coffee shops, street musicians, people carrying shopping bags. Life moving. Normal. Funny thing. Private heartbreak never looks important from outside. Phone buzzed. Rebecca. I stared. Didn't answer. Buzz again. Text. Dad, another. Everything okay? Another. Need an answer about paperwork, eventually. Eventually. Interesting. Not take your time. Not no rush. Need. Insurance work taught me urgency tells stories. I drove home. Quiet. No radio. Blue Ridge Parkway traffic moving slow. Clouds hanging low. Mind running faster than highway speeds. When I pulled into my driveway, Frank sat on my porch, naturally. Blue jacket, coffee, chair tilted back. You're becoming weird, I said. You look terrible. You said that yesterday. Still true. I sat, porch quiet, Wind moving trees, October trying to become November. "You see lawyer?" Frank asked. "Yeah. And?" "She found problems." "How bad?" "Bad enough." Frank nodded. "No surprise. That bothered me." "You knew?" I asked. "No." "Then why aren't you shocked?" "Marshall." "What?" "I owned a business 30 years. So? I watched families fight over boats worth $6,000. Quiet. Watched brothers sue brothers over lawn equipment. Quiet. Watched people change over money they'd spend inside 18 months. I raised her. I know. I taught her better. I know. I loved her." Frank looked at me, long. "Quiet? Friend quiet." "Then Marshall." "What?" "People can love you." "Quiet. People can love you." Long pause. "And still make selfish choices." Wind moved through trees, leaves shifting, cold air settling, hard truth arriving gently. Worst kind, because gentle truths stay longer. "What do I do?" I asked quietly. Frank thought. Actually thought. Then, "Nothing." "What?" "Nothing." "That's terrible advice." "No." He leaned back. "It's expensive advice." "What?" "Bum. People doing wrong things hate silence." Interesting. Very interesting. "Watch," Frank said. "Wait. Pay attention. Insurance investigations. Again. Same principle. Fraud hates patience." 3 days passed. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no Rebecca, no calls, no pressure. Almost normal. Which somehow felt stranger. Thursday, 8:12 p.m. phone buzzed. "Rebecca. Video call." I answered. "Hey, kid." She smiled. Professional smile. Controlled. Prepared. "Dad?" "Rebecca. You okay?" "Yep." "You've been quiet." "Been busy." "Busy doing what?" Interesting. Question number 1. "Life?" "Did you review paperwork?" "There it is." "What?" "Nothing." Silence. "Tiny. Real. Marshall?" "She only used my first name when frustrated. Insurance work taught pattern recognition. Parenthood confirmed it." "You haven't signed anything?" "No." "Questions?" "Some." "I can explain." "I know." "Can Tyler and I come Saturday?" There it was. Momentum returning. Pressure returning. Movement. Toward something. "Saturday?" I asked. "Yeah." "Why?" "Talk." "Interesting. Talk. Not discuss, not explain. Talk." "Okay," I said. "You free around 1?" "Sure." Professional smile returned. Controlled. Confident. Too confident. "Love you, Dad." "Love you too." Call ended. Quiet house. Kitchen clock. 8:24 p.m. I sat there. Thinking. Patterns. Timing. Pressure. And one thought refused to leave. Caroline said let people reveal themselves. Frank said wait. Insurance work said watch. Saturday was coming. And something deep inside me, something old, something trained, kept whispering the same thing. Rebecca thought she was ahead. She wasn't. Not anymore. Saturday arrived cold, 42 degrees, gray skies, the kind of North Carolina morning that makes coffee taste more important. I woke up at 5:40. Naturally. Didn't need an alarm. Didn't sleep much anyway. Funny thing about tension. It doesn't always make your mind race. Sometimes it makes your mind quiet. Too quiet. I stood on my back porch, holding black coffee, looking toward the trees behind my property. Wind moving leaves. Neighbor's dog barking 3 houses down. Life doing ordinary things. Meanwhile, my family felt like it was slowly sliding toward something sharp. 11:12 a.m. Frank called. "You alive?" "Unfortunately." "You nervous?" "No." "Lie." "Little bit." "Good." "Good. Means you still understand stakes." I leaned against the porch rail. "Frank, What? What if I'm wrong? Quiet, long quiet. What if Rebecca's just worried? You think that? No. Then stop negotiating with reality. Simple. Annoyingly wise. Frank had become more dangerous with age, more efficient, like old pocket knives. People don't gather paperwork and property values by accident, he said. I know. You know professionally. There it was. Again. You know something weird? I said. What? I still keep hoping this ends with me looking stupid. Frank didn't answer immediately. Finally. Good fathers do that. That one stayed with me. 12:48 p.m. I straightened the kitchen. Not because company was coming, because nerves need jobs. Countertops wiped. Coffee ready. Chairs adjusted. Paper towels replaced. Evelyn used to call it productive anxiety. Marshall, she'd say. Stop reorganizing spoons when you're stressed. Funny what survives people. 1:03 p.m., white BMW, Rebecca, Tyler. Right on time, interesting. Control like schedules. I opened the front door. Hey, kid. Hi, Dad. Hug, quick. Tyler nodded. Marshall? Tyler? Rebecca carried another folder. Black, professional, important looking, again. You hungry? I asked. No, Rebecca said quickly. Tyler smiled awkwardly. I could eat. Good, I said. Turkey sandwiches. Rebecca exhaled quietly. Tiny frustration, interesting. Pressure likes efficiency. Sandwiches slow things down. Kitchen table, turkey, chips, sweet tea, normal. Artificially normal. Tyler asked about football. I answered. Rebecca barely touched her food. Watch people when they're waiting to do something. They leak energy. Leg bouncing. Short answers. Checking phones. Looking toward folders. Insurance investigations taught observation. Parenthood taught restraint. Finally, 1:41 p.m. Rebecca sat straighter. There it was. Prepared conversation posture. Dad. Yep. We should talk. Okay. Tyler looked down. Interesting. Very interesting. Rebecca opened folder. Paperwork again. Different stack. More polished. More organized. I've been doing research. Dangerous opening. I know things have been emotional. Emotional. Interesting. Not practical, not planning. Emotional. We're worried. We. Me and Tyler. Tyler shifted. Tiny, but real. Interesting. You live alone. Mm-hmm. You forget things. No. Dad. No. You left your garage open 3 weeks ago. One time. You forgot your dentist appointment. One appointment. You put your truck keys in the refrigerator. I stared. Then laughed. Actually laughed. Because I'd forgotten that, 3 months ago after buying groceries. That was one time. Dad. I found them. 4 hours later. I was busy. Rebecca didn't smile. Tyler almost did. Almost. Pay attention to this next part. People building cases start collecting small mistakes. Not context, evidence, narrative. You need support, Rebecca said quietly. I have support. You need more. I have Frank. Dad. What? Frank is 70. Frank will be thrilled you noticed. Tyler smiled. Rebecca didn't. Interesting. Again. I looked at some places, Rebecca said. There it is. What? Places. Communities. Places. Senior communities. Places. She exhaled slowly. Frustration. Growing. Interesting. I found one outside Hendersonville. I remember. It's beautiful. I remember. They have medical support. I have Dr. Reed. They have transportation. I have truck keys. Usually. Tyler coughed. Rebecca stared. I need you to understand something. Humor annoys people trying to control outcomes because humor slows momentum, creates space. Space creates thinking. Thinking creates problems. Dad. Quiet voice now. Careful voice. You aren't 20 anymore. No. You need a plan. I have one. No. Her voice tightened. You don't. Interesting. Certainty. Dangerous thing. I think maybe you're struggling more than you realize. There it was. Finally. Out loud. Real concern maybe. Control maybe. Both possible. Human beings are complicated. Villains rarely wake up wanting to become villains. Pressure, fear, money, stress, ego. People justify things. You think I'm declining? I said quietly. No. Too fast? Interesting. You think I'm forgetting things? Dad. You think I need management? No. You think I need oversight? No. You think I can't handle my own life? No. Silence. Kitchen clock ticking. Wind outside. House suddenly feeling smaller. Tyler finally spoke, softly. Marshall. Yeah. We just worry. Interesting. Tyler still saying worry. Rebecca saying planning. Language reveals people, always. I got something else too, Rebecca said. Folder opening. Paper sliding. Slow, careful, prepared. She placed paper down. Single page. Printed. Professional. Recognition hit instantly. Property value estimate. Blue Ridge Heritage Realty. My house. My address. Interesting. Very interesting. I thought we should know options, Rebecca said. Should we know options? Words matter. Insurance work taught me that. Life confirmed it. You got property estimates. I was researching. 3 weeks ago. Silence. Tiny, sharp. What? 3 weeks ago? Dad? 3 weeks before paperwork. Dad. 3 weeks before Hendersonville. Dad. Quiet. Real quiet. Tyler looked at Rebecca. Rebecca looked at me. Nobody moving. Nobody smiling. Then the sentence. The one Caroline warned me patience would reveal. Dad, Rebecca said quietly. I already started the process. Silence. Total silence. Kitchen clock. Wind. My breathing. Tyler freezing beside her. Started the process. What process? I asked quietly. What process? Dad. What process? Her voice dropped. Soft. Careful. Almost defensive. I talked to people. What people? Professionals. What professionals? Bank people. Interesting. Very interesting. Who? Silence. Wrong silence. Dangerous silence. Rebecca. I was trying to help. What bank? Nothing happened. What bank? Tyler slowly looked down. Bingo. Real bingo. You contacted my bank. Dad. You contacted my bank. We just wanted information. We, again, not I. We. I was protecting you. There it was. The justification. The dangerous one. Protection. Control's favorite disguise. I looked at my daughter. Really looked. And suddenly, for the first time, I stopped seeing my little girl and started seeing someone trying to manage my life without permission. Worse. Someone convinced they had the right, and deep inside, something old, something trained, something built across 34 years catching lies quietly stood up. Because now I finally knew. And Saturday wasn't going the way Rebecca thought. Not even close. The strange thing about betrayal, real betrayal, is that it rarely arrives screaming. It arrives sounding reasonable, protective, responsible, helpful. Saturday afternoon sat quietly around us. The kitchen suddenly felt smaller. Rebecca sat across from me, Tyler beside her. The folder still open, paperwork spread neatly across my oak table. The same table Evelyn bought 23 years earlier because she said, families should have one place where hard conversations happen honestly. Funny, Life has a sense of humor. Dad, Rebecca said carefully. You don't understand. No, I said quietly. I understand more than you think. You're making this something it isn't. Dangerous sentence. Insurance work taught me that too. People rarely say, I made a mistake. They say, you're misunderstanding. Different thing. Very different thing. I called because I care, Rebecca said. I talked to people because I care. I looked at options because I care. Okay. She blinked. Okay. Okay. That's it. What else should I say? You act like I'm doing something wrong. I didn't say that. You think it. Interesting. Projection, pressure, emotion. Human beings do strange things when truth gets close. Tyler finally spoke. Marshall. Yeah. Rebecca's worried. Tyler. Yeah. You knew. Silence. Long, heavy, wrong. Then a little. Interesting. Very interesting. No, not yes, a little. I knew she was researching places. Places. Marshall, no. Quiet, controlled, no. Nobody spoke. Kitchen clock. Wind outside. Dishwasher humming. Life continuing normally. Which somehow felt insulting. I need coffee, I said. Rebecca exhaled sharply. Dad? I said I need coffee. I stood, slowly, calmly. No anger, no shouting, no drama. Quiet people scare controlling people, because quiet people think. I poured coffee. Black, naturally. Tyler looked miserable. Rebecca looked frustrated. Interesting. Not guilty, frustrated, big difference. I sat back down, took one sip, looked directly at my daughter. You contacted my bank. Just questions. You discussed my house. Options? You gathered paperwork. Planning. You looked at senior communities. Concern. I nodded slowly. Interesting. Very interesting. Rebecca. What? How much debt are you carrying? Silence. Total silence. Bingo. Real bingo. What? She said quietly. Mortgage. Dad? Mortgage. That's not relevant. It is. No. Credit cards. Marshall. Car payment. Stop. There it is. Tyler slowly lowered his eyes. Interesting. Very interesting. Rebecca. Quiet, gentle. How much? I don't owe you. No. I leaned forward. How much? Her jaw tightened. Defensive posture. Crossed arms. Evelyn crossed arms too. Difference was Evelyn listened after. Rebecca talked. Fast, efficient, controlled, until control slips. Then people reveal things. We're fine, she said. We, again. We. Not I. We. Insurance work. Pattern recognition, pressure indicators, deflection, defensiveness, timing. Everything talking at once. Rebecca? What? Property taxes went up? So. Charlotte mortgage rates climbed. So. Tyler switched divisions last year? Silence. Medical expenses. Silence. Interesting. Very interesting. Dad. Tyler. He froze. Yeah. Talk to me. Rebecca turned immediately. Tyler. Wrong move. Very wrong move. Pressure exposed itself. Tyler looked trapped, cornered, tired, human. You don't have to answer, Rebecca said quickly. Another wrong move. I stayed quiet. Insurance work taught silence. Silence creates gravity. Truth falls toward it. Finally, Tyler spoke. Quietly. We had some hard months. Rebecca closed her eyes. Tiny, brief, enough. Medical stuff, Tyler said. Rebecca's mom. Interesting. Very interesting. You didn't tell me? I said quietly. Rebecca looked away. I didn't want help. There it was. Human, real, pain, not greed, not only greed, pride, pressure, fear, human things. I sold investments, Tyler said quietly. Mortgage adjusted. Hospital bills. Quiet. Kitchen quieter now. Different quiet. Truth quiet, more honest. I wasn't trying to hurt you, Rebecca said. Voice smaller now, less executive, more daughter. I was trying to fix things. Fix what? Everything. Dangerous word, everything. People trying to control outcomes often believe they're solving problems, even when creating bigger ones. You thought managing me fixes your life? I asked quietly. No. You thought my house fixes pressure? No. You thought controlling decisions fixes fear? No. But not strong no, weak no, complicated no, human no. Tears showed up, small, quiet. Rebecca hated crying, always had. Evelyn used to say she cries like she's apologizing for it. I was scared, Rebecca whispered. Quiet, real, human, interesting. Because suddenly the monster disappeared, and my daughter came back. Not completely, not enough, but some. I watched Mom get sick, she said quietly. Nobody moved. I watched everything happen so fast. Tyler stayed silent. Good instinct. I watched you pretend you were okay. Quiet. I watched you sit in that hospital parking lot. Very quiet. I watched you stop sleeping. Kitchen suddenly smaller, harder to breathe. I don't want to do that again. Truth. Real truth, dangerous truth. Because real truth complicates anger. I wasn't trying to steal from you, she whispered. I was trying to control something. Control. There it was. Finally. Real answer. Not money, not house. Fear. Fear-wearing organization. Fear-wearing planning. Fear-wearing paperwork. Human beings. Complicated. Messy. Dangerous. Sad. I know Mom would have wanted no. Quiet, firm, no. Rebecca stopped. You don't speak for your mother. Tears, real ones now. I know. No. Quiet. Controlled. You don't. Silence. Wind outside. Clock ticking. Memory sitting at the table with us. Invisible. Heavy. Real. I loved her too, Rebecca whispered. I know. No anger. Not now. Not there. Not after hearing fear. But fear doesn't excuse everything. Fear explains. Not excuses. Insurance work taught me that too. People always have reasons. Reasons aren't permission. Rebecca. Quiet. Yeah. You don't get to decide when my life becomes yours. Tears. More now. Real. I know. No. Quiet. You don't. Nobody moved. Long silence. Then Tyler quietly spoke. We should leave. Interesting. Good instinct. Rebecca nodded slowly. Broken. Tired. Human. Not villain. Not victim. Human. Complicated human. She stood. Grabbed purse, folder, paperwork, control, fear, pressure, all packed neatly together. At the door she stopped, turned, small voice. Dad. Yeah. Are you angry? Funny question after everything. Funny. Sad. Human. I don't know yet, I said honestly, because that was truth. And truth, real truth, takes time. The front door closed. White BMW disappeared. Quiet house. Quiet afternoon. Quiet pain. I sat alone. Kitchen table. Cold coffee. Evelyn's empty chair. And for the first time I realized something difficult. Rebecca wasn't done. Not yet. And neither was I. People think winning feels loud. It doesn't. Not real winning. Real winning feels quiet. Heavy. Complicated. And sometimes it hurts. 3 days passed after Rebecca left my house. 3 quiet days. No calls, no texts, no pressure. Which somehow worried me more. Tuesday morning. 6:02 a.m. Coffee, back porch, cold air. My phone buzzed. Rebecca, text message. Short, professional, dangerous. Dad, we need one family meeting, please. Sunday. 2 p.m. Family meeting. Interesting. Very interesting. Insurance work taught me something years ago. People wanting truth ask conversations. People wanting outcomes organize meetings. I stared at the screen. 5 minutes? 10? Finally, I typed, okay, nothing else. No emotion, no questions, no resistance. Caroline Mercer had warned me. Marshall. Yeah? People pushing outcomes build momentum. Okay. Don't interrupt momentum. Let it move. Let it show itself. Sunday came cold, gray, wind pushing dead leaves across my driveway. 1:11 p.m. Frank showed up first, naturally, holding a peach cobbler, crooked aluminum tray, badly wrapped. What is that? Cobbler. Looks dangerous. You're welcome. He walked inside, set it down, looked around. You nervous? No. Lie. Little. Good. I hate when you're wise. I hate when you're stubborn. Normal, comforting, human. 1:43 p.m. I adjusted chairs, kitchen table, 6 seats, oak wood, strong enough for hard conversations. Evelyn would have hated today, not because conflict scared her, because division broke her heart. 1:58 p.m. White BMW, Rebecca, Tyler, another car, silver Honda Accord. Interesting. Very interesting. Front door opened. Rebecca walked in first. Professional, controlled, prepared. Tyler behind her. Tired, quiet. Then Aunt Linda Harper, Evelyn's older sister. 72. Retired school counselor, kind, sharp, impossible to manipulate. Interesting. Very interesting. Then Eric Harper, my nephew, 43. CPA, numbers guy. Calm, practical. Rebecca brought witnesses. Interesting. Very interesting. Marshall, Linda said quietly. You okay? I'm here. She squeezed my arm. Long enough? Warm enough? Family? Real family. Rebecca sat, opened folder. Black, professional, important looking. Again, interesting how people trust folders. Thank you everybody for coming, Rebecca said. Corporate voice, presentation voice, dangerous voice. We're here because Dad needs support. Interesting opening. Not, Marshall asked. Not Marshall wanted. Dad needs. Tyler stared downward. Eric folded his arms. Linda watched, quiet, sharp. Good. Rebecca continued. Dad lives alone. Dad has had memory issues. Linda immediately looked at me. Interesting. Very interesting. Dad needs planning. Dad needs structure. Dad needs protection. Protection, dangerous word again. She pulled papers out. Professional stack. Prepared stack. Controlled stack. I've done research. Interesting, again. Senior living. Financial planning. Medical authority. Future management. Future management. Human beings reveal themselves through vocabulary, always. I've spoken to professionals. I've prepared options. I think we need action. Need, momentum, pressure, control. Exactly like Caroline predicted. Exactly. I sat quietly. Coffee beside me. Black. Naturally. Rebecca kept talking. Faster now. More confident. Mistake. Insurance work taught me greedy people talk too much. Fearful people, too. I've already started preparing transitions. Transitions. Interesting. Very interesting. I've contacted professionals. Evaluated property value. Explored support systems. Linda slowly looked toward Rebecca. Eric looked uncomfortable. Tyler looked exhausted. And me, I waited. Because waiting matters. Silence matters. Patience matters. Fraud hates patience. Truth survives it. Then Rebecca said it. The sentence, the exact sentence. Dad isn't seeing things objectively anymore. Quiet. Total quiet. There it was. The line. The one Caroline said would matter. The one Frank said patience reveals. The line. I took one sip of coffee. Set cup down. Carefully. No anger. No raised voice. No performance. Quiet. Rebecca. Yes. You finished. Silence. Tiny. Confident smile. Dangerous smile. Mostly? Good. I stood. Walked toward the hallway. Returned carrying one folder. Brown, simple, not professional looking. Interesting thing about real preparation, it doesn't advertise itself. I sat down, opened folder, quietly. Eric? Yeah? You're a CPA. Correct. You know documentation matters. Absolutely. Aunt Linda. Yes? You know clear thinking matters. Yes. Tyler. Quiet. Yeah. You know truth matters. Silence. Yeah. Rebecca crossed her arms. Evelyn habit, wrong energy, same posture, dangerous similarity. I pulled papers out. 1, 2, 3. Slowly, purposefully. I met an attorney. Rebecca froze. Tiny, enough. 2 weeks ago. Quiet. I updated my will. Quiet. Medical directives. Quiet. Trust structure. Quiet. Financial protections. Rebecca stopped moving. Interesting. Very interesting. I had paperwork reviewed. Silence. I had legal review. Silence. I had medical evaluation. Aunt Linda blinked. Eric leaned forward. Rebecca very still now. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm fully capable. Quiet. I'm fully independent. Quiet. I'm fully aware. Very quiet. I also reviewed documentation. Rebecca whispered, Dad. No. Quiet. Controlled. No. Not angry. Worse. Certain. Property evaluations. Quiet. Financial authority paperwork. Quiet. Authorization language. Quiet. Timeline. Quiet. I know property discussions started weeks before concern. Rebecca pale now. Tyler staring downward. I know questions reached my bank. Silence. I know planning happened before conversations. Rebecca finally spoke. Quiet, small. Dad? No. Quiet. No. Insurance work. 34 years. Patterns, pressure, greed, fear, human behavior, all sitting at my kitchen table. I believe you love me. Rebecca crying now. Real tears. I believe you're scared. More tears. I believe pressure changed judgment. Quiet. But long silence. Dangerous silence. You don't get to take my independence because fear makes you uncomfortable. Total silence. Wind outside. Clock ticking. Linda crying quietly. Tyler frozen. Eric staring downward. Rebecca broken. Human. Complicated. Not evil. Worse. Human. You thought I was behind, I said quietly. You thought age made me slower. Quiet. It made me quieter. Tears. Real ones. I already knew. Quiet. I knew before paperwork. Quiet. I knew before meetings. Quiet. I knew before today. And finally, for the first time, Rebecca understood. She hadn't been ahead. Not once. Not any part of this. Because I'd already met my lawyer, before she ever made her move. And suddenly nobody in the room looked at me like an old man anymore. Nobody spoke for almost 20 seconds, which doesn't sound long. It is, especially inside a kitchen where people just realized the story they believed wasn't the real story. The clock above the stove kept ticking. Wind moved through the trees outside. My coffee had gone cold. Again. Story of my life lately. Rebecca sat perfectly still, hands folded, eyes red. Tyler stared down at the table, like maybe hard enough concentration could open a hole in reality and let him disappear into it. Aunt Linda quietly wiped tears. Eric Harper leaned back slowly. CPA brain processing information. Numbers people do that. They calculate emotions, too, just slower. Frank sat near the far corner, silent, for once, which honestly worried me more than anything. Rebecca finally spoke. Quiet, small, different. Dad. No corporate voice. No presentation voice. No planning voice. Just daughter voice. I didn't... She stopped, started again. I didn't think... I know, I said quietly. And I did know. That was part of what made it harder. Because bad people are easier. Bad people let you simplify things. Draw lines, close doors, move on. Human beings complicate pain. Human beings force nuance. Rebecca wasn't evil. Rebecca was scared. Scared people do selfish things. Pressure does strange things. Fear makes smart people stupid. Makes organized people dangerous. Makes loving people controlling. But, and this matters, fear explains behavior. Fear doesn't excuse behavior. Tyler finally lifted his head. Marshall? Yeah. I'm sorry. Quiet, simple, real, and I should have said something sooner. Probably. I knew she was overwhelmed. I know. I knew things were getting out of hand. I know. I thought it had calmed down. Quiet. Instead, it got bigger. Yeah. It did? Rebecca stared downward. Shoulders smaller somehow. Funny. Control disappears fast. Human beings look different when certainty leaves. I wasn't trying to take your house, she whispered. I know. I wasn't. I know. I just... Tears again. Real ones. Not strategic, not pressure, not presentation, pain, human pain. I couldn't breathe anymore. Quiet, very quiet. I couldn't fix Mom. Nobody moved. Kitchen smaller again, harder to breathe. I couldn't save Mom. Voice shaking now. Human, broken, real. And I watched everything happen so fast. Silence. I watched doctors decide things. I watched paperwork decide things. I watched life decide things. Tears falling now. I hated feeling helpless. There it was. The deepest truth, not money, not property, not greed. Fear. Fear disguised as management. Fear disguised as planning. Fear disguised as control. I understood that fear. God help me, I understood it. Because after Evelyn got sick, I tried controlling everything too. Medication schedules, doctor appointments, insurance claims, treatment options, research, spreadsheets, lists, control. Because helplessness feels unbearable. But grief teaches brutal lessons. Control isn't safety. Sometimes control is just fear wearing work boots. I know, I said quietly. Rebecca cried harder. Not dramatic, not loud, worse. Quiet crying. The kind people do when they're embarrassed to need comfort. She got that from Evelyn, too. I thought if I planned enough, she whispered. I know. I thought if I organized enough. I know. I thought maybe... She stopped. Couldn't finish, didn't need to. We understood, all of us. Aunt Linda quietly reached over. Put a hand on Rebecca's arm. Family, complicated, broken. Family. Frank finally stood. Anybody want cobbler? Everybody looked at him. Naturally. What? Frank said. We having emotional collapse on empty stomachs. I laughed. Actually laughed. Small. Unexpected. Dangerous thing. Laughter. Sometimes laughter cracks pain open enough to let oxygen back in. Even Rebecca smiled. Barely. Tiny. Human. Frank, Aunt Linda said softly. What? You're ridiculous. Correct. Normal. For 10 seconds normal. God, I missed normal. An hour later, people started leaving. Eric shook my hand. Quiet, respectful. Aunt Linda hugged me. Long, strong. Evelyn would be proud of you, she whispered. That one hurt. Good hurt, bad hurt, love hurt. Tyler stood awkwardly near the front door. Marshall. Yeah. I'm sorry. I know. I mean it. I know. Quiet, human, real, good man, tired man, complicated man. Then Rebecca. Standing near the doorway. Jacket on, purse over shoulder. 40 feet from where she'd stood 3 hours earlier, absolutely certain she'd controlled this situation. Life moves fast. Dad. Yeah. Tears gone. Voice steadier. I don't know how to fix this. Truth. Real truth. Interesting thing. Truth usually arrives late, but when it arrives, you recognize it. You don't fix it today, I said quietly. Then how? You start telling truth earlier. Quiet. Real quiet. You stop deciding things for people. Tears returning. Small. Quiet. You ask. She nodded. Slowly. I understand. No. Gentle. Quiet. You understand beginning today. That matters too. People think forgiveness happens all at once. It doesn't. Trust doesn't rebuild itself because someone cried. Trust rebuilds slowly, through consistency, truth, time, showing up differently. The front door closed. White BMW disappeared. Again. Quiet house. Again. Different quiet this time. Frank stayed. Naturally. We sat on the back porch. 2 old men, cold coffee, October air, North Carolina sky turning orange. You okay? Frank asked. No. Good. You say that a lot. Means you're honest. Quiet. Wind moving trees, finally. I keep thinking about Evelyn, I said. Yeah. She would have known what to say. No. What? Frank leaned back. Evelyn would have cried. I smiled. Little. Probably. Then she'd make food. True. Then she'd tell Rebecca truth without permission. Also true. Quiet, warm quiet, friend quiet, good quiet. A month later, Rebecca called. Not to plan, not to manage, not to organize, just to ask Dad. Yeah. Want dinner? Charlotte. Small Italian restaurant. Tyler there? Different? Quieter. More honest. Not fixed. Not healed. Healing doesn't happen because one hard conversation ends. Healing happens because people decide to stay. Again, and again, and again. Caroline Mercer updated everything legally. Trust, documents, protections, boundaries. Needed. Necessary. Not punishment. Protection. Rebecca knew that. Accepted it. Slowly. Some trust came back. Not all. Truth matters. Consequences matter too. 3 months later, Rebecca called me because her dishwasher broke. I drove down, fixed it. 37 minutes. Bad design. Cheap parts. Modern appliances disappoint me professionally. Dad? She said quietly. Yeah. Thanks. Simple, small, human, progress. Funny thing. I protected my house, protected my independence, protected my future. Won. Technically. But victories inside families don't feel like victories. They feel like repairs, slow, careful, incomplete. And maybe that's life. Not perfect endings, honest ones. If you're listening to me right now, I need you to understand something. Boundaries aren't cruelty. Preparation isn't paranoia. And loving people doesn't mean surrendering your voice. People can love you deeply and still make harmful choices. People can mean well and still cross lines. Protect yourself. Communicate early. Tell truth sooner. And remember, getting older doesn't make you weak. Sometimes it just makes you quieter. And quiet people notice more than the world realizes. If this story meant something to you, join our community by hitting that like button and subscribing for more real, raw, and family-centered stories. Drop a comment below and tell us, have you ever been in a situation like this? We read every single one. And as always, thank you for being a part of this.